Okay, so just here we have the Golden Universal Tarot on my right with its beautiful black border and its gold gilding, and its back, which is very nice, love it. And then on my left we have the traditional Rider-Waite with the white Tudor rose, I think is what it's called. And immediately you can see that the Rider-Waite is slightly bigger, not hugely, but slightly. Okay, so let's try and do this. I've had to turn down the light because of the glossiness and the shininess of the cards, okay, generally, so I hope you can still see them fairly clearly. So starting with the Fool, and we're going to work our way through the major arcana, and you're going to see there is a lot of resemblance between the two. I love that the colors have been emphasized in the Golden Universal Tarot. The colors have been cleaned up as far as I'm concerned, and so have the expression on the folk, on the people's faces. And some of them you may end up preferring in one deck over the other deck. I guess you just have to go with both decks like I do. I mean, these decks are fairly inexpensive. I think they cost about £10 in the UK. So just maybe $15, $12, something like that in the US. I love that the Golden Universal Tarot has cleaned up the lines and is just more accessible and less gritty, I guess. But if I want a little bit more grit to my reading, maybe I go to the original. The original I don't use for readings. I use it for teaching and for comparatives. Because when you learn tarot, I had to get one, because when you learn tarot, everybody teaches with the Rider-Waite Smith. That's what we do. Well, not me, but that's what a lot of people do. And so you have to have it as a reference. And even if you don't like it, very often you're going to have to get acquainted with it. Suit of Cups. Just so that you know the base from which everybody is coming from, or near everybody. Not everybody. You can see that the golden is so much more evocative, has so much more to go with. Not a million miles from each other. But enough of a difference that I would want to have the Golden Universal for sure and use my Rider-Waite as a reference, really. For me, that's what it is. It's just like your base reference, and then from which you can sort of build your understanding of the cards. So the cards are named on it at the bottom there. You can see the court cards being named. The Golden Universal is not named, but they are very easy to identify. So again, you know, I wouldn't worry too much. You know, it's fairly obvious who is who. Suit of Pentacles. Again, that balancing act. So much more evocative with a bit of gold, really. I'm totally biased. towards gold. Sorry. Oh, my cards seem to be running away from me. I like that some of the orientations have been changed as well, so that when you're doing your pairings, you can match different people differently and have very different experiences when you're matching your cards up. Very, very good. And again, the page is more pagey here in the traditional, but I do like John the Baptist. That's what I've decided to call him. Very similar feel in both. I will say that there's less entrapment in this deck of the Queen. On here, she's really quite trapped. And this guy looks a little bit nicer. He looks less self-absorbed than this dude. You know, this guy is very self-absorbed. The other guy looks a bit more magnanimous. All right, Suit of Wands. So both flowering wands. Very similar. Again, change of orientation. Sky being more evocative with like different patterns and different changes in the clouds. Love this card. Love this card. So much better here. So beautiful. I think the Golden Universal gives you a little bit more of the maybe tools that you need to get out of your situation. I see that particularly in reading the color of the clothing. You know, what do you need to nurture? This guy, this is what he's got, but what do you need to nurture? I see it as that being a big difference between the two decks. He's a man of action, this one. He will get the job done. Ace is looking beautiful. I like that the ace is protecting the hand. Sorry, the sword is protecting the hand on this one. She looks calmer. And Three of Swords, very similar. Four of Swords. Oh, the swords are so nice. I love the swords. Probably because I am a sword. Very good. And the changes in expressions are, I think, a good thing. Although I must say that in this card, I am bothered with the fact the swords are coming down, because I always like the ladder of the swords. And they're not going through her. There's a couple at the bottom there that are meaner, but she can use these to kind of get out. She can use her reasoning to get out. Whereas here, it's her reasoning that's put her in this difficult place. Very similar. Love the pages. So much energy here in the Knights, both decks. I mean, the Queens, you just have to like this Queen so much better. I don't know, I do. You might not agree, but that's okay. We all have different ideas. So here we go. That was the traditional Rider-Waite deck on my left versus the Golden Universal Tarot on my right. Please like and subscribe and visit our Patreon page.